In this video, I'd like to demonstrate how to add new fields to an existing screen in Acumatica. Sometimes there's a screen that you have in the system and you want to add some extra fields to it. And in this video, I'll show you how to do that. Now we'll go ahead and add two fields to the opportunity screen in the customer management module. And the important thing to note is that you can do this right in the Acumatica application. You don't have to be a geeky programmer who knows a geeky programming language. You can do it right in Acumatica using the customization tool. So first thing I'll do is I'll go to customer management and pull up the opportunity screen. And what I want to do is I want to add two fields right in this area here. So what I need to do first is come up to customization, and you'll notice all these options here are grayed out. So first I need to do open customization project, and I need to create a project so it can store all my customization code in one place. Now I don't have a project yet, so I'll just create one called test project. You can't have any spaces. And there we go. Now it's created my project. It has a place to store my customizations. And now I'll come back to the customization menu, and you'll see all these options are now enabled. I'll pick enter page design mode. And you'll see now I can kind of highlight fields. I'm in a special design mode. And what I want to do is right click here. And I really like this. You'll see how it highlights the whole area here. I don't have to manually place my field on the screen and manually line it up with all the other fields. I've done this before in other applications, and it can be pretty time consuming trying to line up all your fields. But all I have to do is say add a control, and it's going to make sure everything's evenly spaced and take care of the formatting for me. So I'll say add input control. I could add an existing field, but mine doesn't exist. I want to add a new one. And the first one I want to add is I want to add political party. So I want to track on all of our opportunities. I want our salespeople to find out for the lead person on that opportunity on the customer side, what's their political party. Now I'm going to track that data for several months, and then maybe I'll notice a trend between a certain political party and opportunities that we win or lose. So I'll do add here because it's a new field. You'll notice it automatically picks the correct database table in Acumatica, and we'll take a look at this table at the end, and you can see that Acumatica will do all the programming work for us to automatically add the field to the table. I don't have to be a programmer to do it. It even picked the table for me. But I do have to give it a database field name. I'll call it political party. I can't have any spaces, just like the project name. But in the display name, which is what's going to show up on the screen, that's where I can put my spaces. Field type here, you'll see there's these regular fields and there's these DB fields. I want a DB field because DB field means it's actually going to store the information in the database. It's not just a field that's going to be used for something else on the screen. It will actually store the information in Acumatica. And in this case, I want to give the user 3 options for US political parties. And so I need a field that can hold at least 3 values in it. And I'm going to store a number value for each political party. So I'll pick an integer here. So I'll do dbInt. Automatically checks map to database. And now I need to choose what control type will actually show up on the screen. So I set up my database field. Now I need to set up what's going to actually display on the screen. If you look on this drop down here, I could choose just a regular text field where I could just type some random text in there. I could choose a numerical field, which will force someone to put in a number. I can choose a selector, and this I'd like to learn more about. I don't know how to use this yet. But this is how to add a field that's a lookup field with a magnifying glass, which can be very powerful. Then you have combo box, which is what we'll use in this case. This will give us a drop down and allow us to put what the valid values are. Checkbox is just a yes or no checkbox. These mask edit fields are for things like zip codes and phone numbers where you want to show the user what kind of valid what you're expecting to get in that field. A link field allows you to store a hyperlink, and then it gives you a nice little icon that you can click to automatically open the web page that you've stored. Mail is kind of the same idea, but when you click the mail icon, it will automatically open a new email to the person that was in that email field. Group box, I'm not sure how to use this yet. Date time will give you the nice little calendar icon, so you can have a nice little calendar with months and pick your date that way. An image uploader will allow you to attach images to entities in Acumatica. So what I want in this case is I want the combo box. So I'll pick combo box. I'll hit OK. I'll do some thinking, and now it added the field on the screen for me. Again, very nice that I did not have to manually place it. It automatically spaces everything for me. So then I want to add one more field. I'll do the right click, input control. I want a new field again. Picks my table. And for this one, I want to be able to track. I want to find out if there's any correlation, especially nowadays, between handing out a business card and winning an opportunity. I want my salespeople to just check a box that says either I gave them a business card or I didn't. And then I want to track, do I win more opportunities when I hand out business cards, or does it really not matter? So I'll call this business card given. And then I'll put the spaces in my display name. If you really wanted to, you could make these names completely different, but it would just give you a headache if you're ever looking at the data in the database. So I try to keep them consistent. Now for this case, I know it's just going to be a yes or a no checkbox. So I'm not going to use an integer. I'll use a Boolean or a bit. That's just a yes or no field in the database. So I'll pick that, checks map to database, and then it even knows that I want a checkbox because I picked a Boolean value. So that's it. I hit OK, and then it automatically adds the field for me. So now I have two new fields on the screen. And now what I need to do is I'm kind of in design mode here. And I need to actually say, all right, I like what I did, and I want to push this out to the users. Now actually, I just remember one more thing before we do that. In this drop-down box, I need to define what are the valid values for political party. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on this box and go to Attributes. And then you'll see in here I've got some, this is where you have a little bit of geeky code. Now, if you take a look at the blog post, I'll put in some notes on how I figured out what you're supposed to put in here. But really, you can just take this and paste it. You don't have to really understand exactly what it's doing, because I really don't. I'm just using an example and putting in my own values, and it works. So I'm not going to go into what all this does, because honestly, I don't know. I'm just going to go to the place I found the format. I'm going to take the code here. And you can kind of tell what it's doing is it's saying, I'm going to store a 0, 1, or 2 in my integer fields in the database. But the value I'm going to show to the user will be Republican, Democrat, or other. So Republican will get stored as a 0, Democrat will get stored as a 1, and other will get stored as a 2. So you could use this same methodology to do whatever drop-down box you want to do. I'm just going to copy that, and I'll paste that in. You want to put it right between these two lines right there. So that's it. So that was a little geeky, but not too bad. I didn't have to go to a developer tool. I'm still in Acumatica, and I just have to know a little bit about what to paste in there. Not too bad. Click OK. Okay, now this drop-down box knows what the valid values are. So now I want to push this out to my users. Right now I'm still in design mode, so I'm going to come up here, I'll go to customization, and I'll just say validate and publish. And this is going to take a little bit of time here. Probably on a real fast server, this would go a lot faster. I'm just on my local laptop, so it's a little bit slow. You'll see it's kind of doing some validation stuff. And then once it's finished with its validation, it will allow me to publish. So I'm going to click Publish. Now, Publish is what's actually going to push it out to make it available to all the users. And it kind of seems like it's frozen, but if you look in the upper left here, you'll see my Google Chrome browser is doing a little spinning right there, so I know it's doing something. And then also in the bottom left, it says waiting for localhost. Localhost just means Acumatica is running on my laptop. So I know it's doing something, and even though it says here it's been updated, I'm still getting the little circle on the top and this waiting on the bottom. So I'm just going to wait. It takes a little bit of time. But this is nice because Acumatica is doing all that geeky programming work for me. I was able to just graphically pick the fields that I wanted, drop them on the screen, and Acumatica did all the work in the database and in the schema and all the stuff it needs to do. It does it all for me behind the scenes. And now you'll see I have my two fields, business card given and political party. Now I'm still in that design mode, so I'm just going to go to customization, say exit page design mode. And now I'm back into my normal screen. with my 2 fields added. So let's say I want to pull up an existing opportunity here, opportunity number 3. Maybe I check that and I hit the drop down. Here's my 3 values. Maybe I store Democrat on this opportunity, hit save, and this information will get saved with the opportunity. Now if I click to a new opportunity, opportunity 4, these are empty. If I click back to opportunity 3, I have values in those fields. So the last thing to show is that just to prove that it really is storing this in the Acumatica database, I'm just going to click over to SQL Management Studio here. And here's that CR opportunity table that we saw earlier. Again, we didn't have to know what it was. It guessed it for us. It told us. But this is just to show that it really is actually adding this in the database for us. So I'm just going to refresh a select from that table. And you'll see at the very end of the column list, Acumatica will add our fields in there for us. And it puts a little USR for user, I think. And then there's the 2 field names that I gave without the spaces. And here you'll see it stored that number 1 in there for Democrat. And then it stored a number 1 showing that, yes, I gave them a business card. So very nice. I was able to add 2 fields to a screen in Acumatica without having to do a lot of programming and without having to really be a programmer. You could do this, just a business analyst type of person can add fields to screens without too much effort.